Can we start now? We are all 44, so I guess the attendance is good already to start our first topic for this morning. My topic that I'm going to share with you is all about my research, interventions, innovations, and strategy. Because we are all educators, right? So those terms like strategies, approaches, innovations, and interventions are not new to us. Okay, so we are going to have a brief review of our roles as teachers for the first 21st century. I have here on my slide, I will be sharing with you my research-based interventions, innovations, and strategies. This is Zella Efraina Sator, your Carcar City Division Research Core Group of DepEd Carcar City, Cebu. Okay, first, we are going to learn the K-teacher's role of 21st century. Our first role is assessor. Assessor, right? Why assessor? Because we need to find out, we need to discover, we need to gather a baseline data before we craft anything. Second is designer. Of course, we are going to design, we are going to create. Facilitator, of course, we are going to facilitate learning. And we are also the documenter. So with that roles, I guess, we are very much well versed on that, right? Okay, why assess? How to design an intervention, how to facilitate, how to document. Okay, why assess? In order to have a baseline data, which are vital element in the process of crafting interventions, innovations, strategies, and approaches. Examples. We are going to have the demographic profile found in the enrollment forms. When we say enrollment forms, the DepEd provided enrollment forms because all of the data that we need are there. And then test scores, of course. And then we are going to use also the character traits narrative report card. How to design an intervention. Consider their learning styles inventory test results and backgrounds. If you are going to ask me on the tool for that, I am very much willing to share it with you. And then we are going to consider their learning needs and learning conditions. And that is why we have to have an ocular survey of the type of working station that we are in. And then we are going to consider the availability of resources. And of course, we are going to consider teachers' efficacy and competence, being the frontliners and the stewards of education. How are we going to facilitate? First, we're going to conduct an intervention experimentally. Take note of the term experimentally, meaning it has to have series of systems and systematic intervention or systematic investigation. We are going to make an explicit connections between teaching and learning process. Provide the missing components in order to achieve the desired content and performance standards. Here is my intervention plan sample crafted while I was in the midst of my quarantine. Okay, I of course, I referred to our LCP or the Learning Continuity Plan, and with me is my sample intervention action plan. I have here activity, flexible learning delivery mode or blended learning. When we say blended learning, that is a mixture of face-to-face, online, modular approaches are all in. So that's the term blended. When we say the objective is to sustain learning despite the COVID-19 pandemic. What are the materials to be used? Modules, of course, and multimedia. And then the MOVs are the learner's portfolio or the module outputs. Another activity that we can also use for the blended learning is the TV or the radio-based instruction. And we are, of course, blessed to have with us in Carcar City. We have the 98.2 Smile Radio program hosted by Doc Jean de Basol, our very own Doc Jean de Basel. And then we also have family supported learning. In family supported learning, we are going to gather the data, of course, stipulated from our enrollment data sheets, wherein we are going to extract the responses, whether they have families or relatives, which are capable of facilitating learning. Meaning to say, those are with education units or those who are intellectually inclined people. Okay, could be our support staff. Another thing that you are going to consider is my very own Edukasyon Mo, Mission Ko project. I have this project in Karaatan Elementary School for now, and this is to enable learners to have access in education amidst pandemic challenge. Why I am crafting this? Because I found out that in the enrollment data, out of 89 enrolled learners, only 17 have cell phones and the rest are not connected, no internet connection, and parents' educational attainment are, of course, are low. Sad to say, most of them are only in elementary level, so we cannot oblige them to facilitate the modules to their children. Time allotment for this, 10 months, and the MOV is the learner's academic performance. Okay, what about the term innovation? When we say innovation, this is an authentic material that can help address the problem. Example for this is the Wingo cards for the oral fluency enhancement, crafted by my daughter in her action research. And very common to us is the Zoom apps, the Google Meet that we have, which are so timely and very functional. And of course, it has addressed to our common problem at this time, which is to have a virtual modality on webinars and seminars and forums. Okay. What about the question, how to document? As teachers, we are all expert on this. Why? Because we know how to record the data. We are also equipped on how are we going to tabulate the data. We are to transcribe the data. So these terms are so common to us, but when we say research, we have to do it diligently and sincerely, or shall I say, it should be in a way that it should be validated and it should be properly crafted so that we could interpret it, we can craft recommendations, and of course, we are going to design action plans which could really address to the needs of our different working stations. What about the term strategy? Okay, now for this term strategy, I am requesting everybody to share because we are all teachers. Okay, so I will be calling names as to how are we going to help our learners transfer their learning in a way that enables them to be globally competitive and lifelong learners. Does anyone want to share? We have 46 participants on board, so I am expecting 46 responses in 2 minutes. Hello? Good morning. Good morning. Who wants to share? Who wants to share on his thoughts on how are we going to help our learners transfer their learning in a way that enables them to be globally competitive and lifelong learners? If walay mo volunteer, I will be motivated to call names from my dashboard. Hello? May I hear the voice of Ma'am Cherry S. Abellanoza? Ma'am Cherry? Hello? Ma'am Cherry? Asa man ni si Ma'am Cherry? Naka-off yung microphone? Oh sige. Please please kog unmute sa microphone. Please kog unmute sa microphone so that you can share your thoughts. What about Sir RG? Sir RG? Sir RG of Pitos Elementary School. Hello. Sir.
Good morning.
Morning, sir.
So, in my own language, how can we help our learners transfer their learning in a way enables? So, in this time, ma'am, tingali, sabi niyo, lisod kaayo ang situation nato. So, maybe, as a teacher, so, ang ato lang yung mahimo no sa pagkakaroon kay to help them yun as well as their parents nga ma-facilitate ang ilang learning. Labi na yun karon nga lisod kaayo, so buhaton na gyud ato tanan maski ay house to house ta or kanang adtuon jud sila bisag asa nga hilit nga bukid para lang yun matunol nila ang ilahang kanang learning or education. So ang strategy na to ani sa pagkaron maybe katong gingon ni Sir Gutay pod usap pod to nga kanang video niya atong ihatag nila. So inana lang jud sila ma'am sila kay lisod jud kaayo ang panahon nato karon.
Okay, correct, sir. Thank you, sir, for sharing. That was Sir RG Dayami from Pitos Elementary School. What about from my silingan? I would like to hear the voice of Sir Brandon V. Dayagbil of Valencia National Vocational High School. Sir Brandon.
Good morning. Good morning,
Morning,
ma'am.
sir. Morning, sir.
Okay, so as a teacher, we're going to help to assess in terms of standard. It must be, we're going to share in terms of highly motivated individual students to be globally competitive. So, unsaon man siya. So, tarungon nato siya og tudlo in such a way nga madani niya, ma-acquire niya ang knowledge, skills, and also ma-apply niya sa iyang trabaho, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, sir.
There must be a standard, ma'am.
Yes, correct, sir. Sir, thank you, sir. See,
Yes,
so that was the idea taken from the science enthusiast of Valencia National Vocational High School, Sir Brandon V. Dayagbil. Thank you, sir. What about the... Uy, puros man da ito mga lalaki, no? Silingan pa dyan. What about the idea from Miss Indril Tatoy of Talot Elementary School? Hello, Ma'am Indril. Ma'am Indril.
Hi, ma'am. Good morning.
Hello, Miss. Good morning, Miss.
So for me, ma'am, I can help my learners transfer their learning in a way that I'd like to personalize my lessons that they can relate to and make sure that all my lessons are they can use the lessons in their daily lives.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much, Miss Enril. What about the idea of Ma'am Donna Kilaton. Ma'am Donna, please.
Hi, ma'am. Good morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
Okay, so to enable the learners to be globally competitive, ma'am, it should be nga to ang itudlo nila based sa true to life experience, ma'am ba? Kay in that
Yes.
way, mas ma-apply man gud na nila, ma'am, niya. Dili sad ta mo give up sa nila, labi na usahay mga bata aron medyo gahion na sad, ma'am ba? So
Yes.
kinahanglan ato silang i-encourage always nga ato ang gibuhat para nila is para sa ilahang kaayuhan, para sa maabot. Pero ma'am, murag wala madungog, ma'am, di ko kadungog diri.
Nakadungog ko nimo.
Nakadungog na sila, ma'am. Wala ko
Yes. Nakadungog mi nimo.
sige, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay. Before I will proceed asking all the participants, I would like to pay attention of your responses because your responses could lead you to craft an action research. Okay? So your idea, your first impression on this question is the perfect example for you to craft a very operational action research. What about the idea of Ma'am Michelle? Ma'am Michelle Lapiral of Mainit Elementary School.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, Ma'am Mitch.
Okay, to answer the question, how can we help our learners transfer their learning in a way that enables them to be globally competitive and lifelong learners? For me, ma'am, we should equip students with the specific skills for them to compete in this scenario. We should cultivate also their abilities to be effective in this area.
Wow, very good. Those are very tangible and very observable strategy. I love
Yes,
that, Ma'am
ma'am.
Mitch. I really love that, Ma'am Mitch. Thank you,
Thank you,
Ma'am Mitch.
ma'am.
I would like to hear the voice of my very own teacher, my very own research participant, Ma'am Maria Fe C. Arinyabo.
Hello, good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
Good
Yes,
morning,
Ma'am
ma'am.
Fe.
While
Morning.
while I'm watching and listening to you, I'm eating at the same time. Okay, so to answer the question, how can we help our learners transfer their learning in a way that enables them to be globally competitive and lifelong learners? For me, ma'am, I would maybe I would provide or I will teach them how to be practical in life because when we are going to like unsaw na to pag-learn, ma'am, sa atong kinabuhi ba maagikan sa school kung ato ang learning sa school atong maato siyang apply in our lives, same sa learners lives.
Wow. Wow, amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that very meaty response from my Maria Fe C. Arinyabo of Karaatan Elementary School. Okay, so I am very much blessed with your responses, and I guess you are now ready to craft the action research of your own. So I would like to go to the next slide. Here is the activity for everybody. Okay, are you all in? Are you still with me? Hello? Because you are going to sketch your thumb and on each finger you are going to answer the questions. Will it be all right if you are going to do it in 2 minutes? And you are going to show your responses. After 2 minutes, I am expecting that all participants have an answer. Okay? Time starts now. So 47 participants are on board. I am expecting to have 47 responses for this activity 1. All right? Requesting the cluster facilitators to please do the honor of facilitating their outputs for this particular activity. For cluster 1, we have Dr. Jean Dabasol. For cluster 2, we have Dr. Jinky Baran. For cluster 3, we have Dr. Danielin. For cluster 4, we have Dr. Cha. For cluster 5, we have Dr. Himuta and Ma'am Margie. For cluster 7 is Dr. Daryl. And for cluster 6, we have Sir Romelito and Doc Dang. And for cluster 8, we have Sir Nilo. I am expecting the results after 2 minutes. Thank you very much. Okay, you may now show your responses. And you are going to send them in our group chats. Okay,
Hello, ma'am.
please. Yes,
Sorry, ma'am,
yes.
wala ko na-appeal sa group chat, ma'am. Sa cluster 3, wala siguro ko na-add, ma'am.
So cluster 3, kinsa ni palihog,
Yes,
ma'am?
ma'am. Valladolid, alam ni ma'am Donna Kilaton.
Ibalik. Okay, ma'am. Sige, ma'am, ha? Thank you, ma'am. Akong iingon si Ma'am Danilyn.
Thank you,
Ah,
ma'am.
Hi, Ma'am Stella.
Hi, hello. Ma'am
Kanang
Danilyn.
wala sad ko na-appeal, ma'am, sa cluster 3.
Cluster 3, kinsa ni palihog, ma'am?
Catalina Abelia. Hi, Ma'am Stella.
Sa diin. Sa dining
Valencia Elementary School.
Oh, si
Valencia
Ma'am Kat.
Elementary School.
Oh, sige. Thank you,
Hi,
Ma'am Kat.
Ma'am Sel.
Akong iingon si
ma'am.
Ma'am Danilyn.
Same here,
Welcome.
ma'am, from cluster 1.
Okay, cluster 1. Kisay wa na-appeal.
Missing drill.
Miss Endril, baka na-appeal sa group chat, ma'am? Sige, ma'am.
Nag-message na ko ni Doc Juan, Doc Jean.
Sige. Karon ha. Akong
ma'am.
i-call ilang attention. Thank you. Kinsa pa wala sa group chat. We are now 49. Wow, we are now 49.
Good morning, Ma'am Stella.
Good morning.
Ma'am Emily.
Hi, Ma'am Emily. I miss you.
Sa cluster 1, Ma'am. Missing you too, Ma'am. Sa cluster 1.
Oh, wala sad ka.
Wala po, Ma'am. Nagtanaw ko gabi, pero ilang mupaada ko.
Sige, ma'am. I-add mo na ko, ma'am, ha? Sige, ma'am.
Okay.
Sige,
Salamat
i-add
kay
mo.
Ma'am.
Sige. I-add mo ron. Ikaw man ako speak. Okay, we are now 49. Thank you very much. All participants are in. Si Sir Jason. Sir Jason, sir, kay palihog kog add, sir. Naana sa group chat si Sir Jason? Okay. Okay, so we are now going to proceed on our next slide, and that is all about that is okay. 48 participants are on board. I hope that you can submit your responses. Okay. Strategies are ways to be employed in order to promote learning, right? So here are the examples I have prepared for you. First is cooperative learning structures or family-supported learning. When we say family-supported learning, I am doing it myself. Actually, before this blended learning modality sink in, I managed to craft my very own Mission Ko Edukasyon Mo program, because you know that I have seven children who are all intellectually capable of learning, and every time they ask me if could they still go to school, their their questions pushed me to think on how are we going to help them still acquire education amidst this pandemic thing. So that is why I am crafting this family-supported learning. I managed to connect my cousins, my relatives who are capable so that they could still learn, though we are not allowed to be with them as teachers. Of course, we are going to follow protocols. And another thing is interactive learning strategies. When we say interactive learning strategies, that includes, of course, our ICT, videos, and whatever those are available on hand. We also have graphic organizers and gamification. Gamification is very much applicable in the elementary level or even in secondary level because as we all know that games are indeed amazing and very interesting. So we could use those games and we are going to to promote learning still, though they are in the midst of gaming. Another thing is this very common blended learning. This is what we are going to have in our division. Okay, next is we are going to discuss on I just want to ask why we only have 47 participants. What happened? I guess very low, yeah, very poor internet connection. Okay, this is your final output and you are supposed to submit this. You are going to submit this before the day ends. Okay, this is your output for this morning's topic. I have here areas of concern, the pre-implementation, and then the implementation and the post-implementation. Actually, you just give a very brief idea of what is in your mind as teacher. How are you going to start? How are we going to deliver still learning despite this pandemic challenge? So I am encouraging everyone to start to craft a learning continuity intervention plan after you are going to take a look with my following slides. Okay, in Romans 8:28, it says there, and we know that to them that love God all things work together for good, even to them that are called according to his purpose. And in order for you to craft a very comprehensive action plan, I will be sharing with you my very own Mission Ko, Edukasyon Mo research intervention slides. Okay. Sir, the next slide. There, sir. Thank you, sir. Okay, here is it. Mission ko, edukasyon mo. Okay, this is my PowerPoint presentation on my action research for Karatan Elementary School entitled Mission Ko, Edukasyon Mo. It is a modified learning continuity intervention plan crafted as an action plan from our LCP, updated and approved LCP or the learning continuity plan of the entire division. Okay, as we can see in the picture, just imagine nga kamo na nalibog, unsaon ni nato pag tackle, unsaon ni nato pag overcome ang very challenging COVID pandemic challenge. Dili lang gid siya challenging nga word nga sulti-sulti lang. It is indeed challenging in its truest essence of the word. Okay, Teaching amidst this pandemic challenge requires not just teachers' competence, eloquence, diligence, and passion, but also with greater sense of service, dedication, commitment, and mission beyond the call of duty. In our college days, we were taught in our philosophical foundation of education that education is life itself. This made me reflect as a teacher. If I stop teaching and learning, it is just similar as I stopped living. This COVID-19 pandemic has distorted the foundations of education since the entire academe is now facing a challenge whether to pursue education and impart knowledge at the exhaust of one's life. Is still education holds the life itself, or it is now a dangerous death zone? As a teacher, I made some reflections on how can I still teach. As a mother of 7 who don't want to stop learning, I asked myself, how can they still continue to learn? Yes, we have different suggested learning delivery modalities available, like the online distance learning, modular distance learning, TV or radio-based instruction, or the so-called blended learning, and the home or family-supported schooling to be facilitated by the qualified parents, guardians, tutors, and relatives who are intellectually capable and who have undergone relevant trainings. With these above-quoted learning modalities added with my teaching experiences to some private learning institutions where modular approach was being employed, enabled me to craft a research-based intervention learning continuity plan entitled Mission Ko, Edukasyon Mo, to provide education with safety and protection as an utmost priority. It is a modified learning modality to be conducted in a particular sitio or purok where both the teacher and the maximum of 10 students who resides therein. The students are enrolled with different grade levels with a teacher who is a facilitator for the blended learning in any of the schools in Carcar City Division using the modules. The Mission Ko Edukasyon Mo teacher facilitator will serve as the education frontliner, and he can always collaborate with the subject supervisors, school heads, master teachers, or any issues or contents which are beyond the scope of our expertise. It can be done with the support of the parents, BHW, assigned in that particular purok, the purok president, and with the barangay council member and tanods to ensure the safety and protection. As a mother, I will not allow my children to be with someone who resides from other sitios to ensure their safety. But at the same time, I cannot also let my children's education journey to remain stagnant. That is why this Mission Ko Edukasyon Mo, a research-based intervention program, is being designed with a fervent prayer that both the teachers and the students can still have a grasp of education as a strand of hope. How can I still keep my passion for teaching alive amidst this global health crisis? May this question ignite every teacher, every researcher to reflect and to serve with meaning and purpose. This is my Mission Ko Edukasyon Mo Modified Learning Continuity Intervention Plan, What's, How's, and Why's. The teacher who is a resident of the sitio preferably can be a learning facilitator for elementary from kinder to grade 6, depending on the number of learners enrolled in the sitio. One teacher for secondary from grade 7 will be all right, as long as they are living in the same purok or in the basketball courts, in the chapel, or any vacant space available in the particular city. With the approval, of course, of the purok president and the barangay captain and the barangay health worker assigned in that purok, with the support of the barangay tanods and the parents. Hence, elementary teachers, hence elementary learners, especially kindergarten and grade 1, require maximum teachers supervision, and secondary learners who don't have access on internet. So, modular approach must be facilitated, still, but with a teacher whose minimum contacts to simplify learning protocols and approaches that after the traditional, after the transcribe or the transcription of the enrollment data and with the health status data from the BHW and with the purok president in every sitio situated or found in the school vicinity. We are going to modify the learning modalities depending on the availability of resources and manpower. Ensure the learner's safety through 100% implementation of health protocols. Conduct classes through modular approach to learners of different levels in every sitio. Raising of flaglets can also be used to address every learner's need individually to limit interaction. Since online distance learning is not applicable with elementary graders whose parents lack the capacity to facilitate learning, and with poor signal and unavailability of gadgets, make online distance learning unrealistic. Modular approach requires teacher supervision still, and with learners' safety is our utmost concern. So here is now the example of my Mission Ko Edukasyon Mo Learning Continuity Plan. Areas of concern I have in here for the objectives: establish rapport and connection with all the stakeholders and identify the persons to be conducted by POROC or sitio. Activities, of course, we need to lobby barangay council session. Timeline is May to June. It's done. I went there and we had a meeting. We had a heart-to-heart talk with the barangay officials. And next is we are going to gather and transcribe enrollment data, meaning to say we are going to tabulate the data and of course just do the frequency on how many are living in that particular CTU, and we are going to group them according to their grade levels. And then we are going to identify on what modalities they have responded. Okay. And for the implementation, we are going to organize teachers per CTU to conduct modular class, supervise modular learning by CTU, and modules for 1 week, POROC centers or health paraphernalia as the resources requirement. And then the MOV or the expected outcome is the zero COVID manifestation and commendable learners' performance based from the submitted modules. For the post-implementation, I have in here, monitor and evaluate health conditions and academic performance through this modified modular approach. What activity are we going to do? Daily checking of health condition to be done by the BHW, daily monitoring and facilitating of the modules per learner to be done by the support staff, and timeline for this is October onwards. POROC centers and learning support staff must be available as the resources requirement. What is my expected output for this activity? It is expected with fervent prayer that productive Edukasyon Mo, Mission Ko learning program will be implemented. Okay, that is just a brief description of my Mission Ko Edukasyon Mo learning continuity plan. I hope you are able to learn something from that. And before I will end my presentation, I would like to inspire everyone by saying that education still provides a strand of hope. And I hope that all educators made things possible by simply doing their task diligently. Thank you, everyone, and have a blessed day.